everyone. Welcome to Eat Something with Dee. I want to start off again by saying thank you so much to everybody that's been tuning in. Thank you for all your wonderful comments, and thank you for sending me in pictures of you trying my recipes. That has just made my week this week. It's been so lovely to see you guys experimenting in your kitchens. I'm just a home chef, and I just want to encourage everybody to try something new and fun in their own kitchens. So it's really lovely to see your pictures. Please keep them coming in. I can't wait to see what else you guys come up with, because a lot of you have been doing variations, and I love that, and I want to encourage that. So this week, I'm doing something that is a very typical Indian street snack, but I don't feel like it's made its way over here because it's not exactly super Indian. So I'm gonna get started right away. It's called Raste ka sandwich. Now, Raste ka sandwich essentially just directly translates into sandwich from the street or street sandwich. And it's basically across Bombay and across various other cities in India, you'll find these guys set up with little stalls that have essentially like kerosene camp stoves. And then they have these hand presses that they press the sandwich in and then cook it on an open flame. And it turns out to be the most delicious, wonderful snack right on the street. It's made fresh, they cut everything up fresh, and it tastes absolutely delicious. So what's so special about a toasted sandwich, right? Well, firstly, not only does it have ingredients that you wouldn't always think of putting in a toasted sandwich, but the most special thing is the green chutney that goes into this sandwich. Now, I've mentioned green chutney before, but I haven't really told you how to make it and why it's so special. Essentially, it's this herby mixture of herbs, herby mixture of herbs, and other really fun stuff. And so I'm going to really quickly show you how to make this chutney, because it's really the foundation of what makes this sandwich so awesome and gives it that Indian twist. So let's start making our green chutney first, because the sandwich part is really easy. So I'm going to turn my camera. I'm going to show you what goes into a green chutney. Now, this is my mummy's recipe. And I'm going to try and follow it as much as I can. Okay, here we go. So, as you can see, I've got a giant bowl of herbs here. What this is 4 cups of coriander and 2 cups of mint. Coriander is also called cilantro. Now, unfortunately, for those of you who have that gene that makes cilantro taste like soap, I feel for you. I feel really bad for you. This might not be your best choice. But for the rest of us who really love the taste of cilantro, this is for you. So we've got, like I said, 4 cups of coriander or cilantro, 2 cups of your mint, fresh mint. I've got about a 2-inch piece of fresh ginger root cut up here. And I think there's about 8 to 10 cloves of garlic there. And then I've got about a 1/4 cup of green chilies. Now, green chilies are really to taste. Some people just can't handle the spice, so you maybe want to just put in 1 or 2 just for a little bit of kick, you know, because you need it. Everybody needs a little bit. I like a ton of it, so that's about a 1/4 cup. And then I've got a 1/2 cup of lime juice here. And that's really all you need for your green chutney. Now, my mom puts in like a 1/2 an onion too. I'm not a big fan of the onion taste, so I'm going to avoid it. But you can also put onion in there. And essentially all you do with the stalks and everything, all of it, you just shove it in a little. Here, I'm going to turn the camera a little up so you can see my handy little grinder here. Isn't it adorable? You can't see it properly, but like, look, it's green. It makes me so happy. I'm an appliance girl. I love appliances. You can buy me appliances for my birthday or for Christmas. I will not get mad. I guarantee it. I'm also hinting, please buy me appliances for Christmas and my birthdays. Anyway, so here we go. So you're going to just essentially, now be careful, there's a blade in there. Essentially, you're going to shove your herbs in there and make a mess while you're doing it. Get that in there. and you get some of your ginger and garlic in there. Now, I'm obviously making a really tiny batch of this. You can make this in very large batches and just store it in your fridge. And because it's got that lime juice in there, it's going to be preserved for quite a while. It'll stay for at least a week, if not more. And, you know, I mean, in most Indian households, you just have this in the fridge. Like, it's just one of those condiments, almost like ketchup, that we use in a lot of things. Last week I mentioned you can use it to dip your pakoras in. So this is the green chutney. So, and then you just, you know, do one of those. And obviously you have to keep going and keep going and keep going. And I don't have the time for that. So because I grew up on cooking shows and I know that pre-prep is everything, I have some pre-prepared here for you. And then essentially it should come out as this kind of thick paste like this. Essentially, when you're grinding it down, the lime juice will provide you with enough moisture, but if not, you know, keep a little bit of water on hand always, and just make sure it comes down to a kind of thick, pasty consistency. You don't want it too runny because then it's just going to be liquid, and what's the point of that? So that's your green chutney, and that's how you make it. And then we move on to our sandwich. Now, the way to do this sandwich, essentially, I have a very specific way in which I layer my sandwiches, because if the layers aren't right, it doesn't taste right. I want all the ingredients in every single bite that I take of my sandwich. I'm very particular about sandwiches. So I'm going to show you how I make my sandwiches. And remember I said the ingredients are kind of unique? So I'm going to show you what I put in these toasted sandwiches, and I'll also mention the other ingredients that you can put in. So let me turn your attention to my wonderful sandwich prep. Here we go. Check it out. Yes, yes. Okay, I think you can see there. My camera's gonna tip over. Oop. Bear with me. This is all live, and if it's a disaster, you're gonna see it. Oop. Yeah, it's just not cooperating today. Okay, all right. So what we've got here, I'm gonna move this aside so you can see properly. I've got all of my little sandwich things set up. Now I like to cut the crusts off my sandwiches. I know people feel very strongly about crusts, so if you like it, do it. If you don't, you can leave. If you don't, you can cut it off. Whatever you feel like. Now, what's unique about an Indian rasteka sandwich essentially is that you got your butter down on your bread. What you're also going to put on, of course, is your green chutney that you just made, because really that's going to give it that extra rasta flavor. And rasta is not the same as rasta, though I do feel like the origin of the word is the same. Rasta for me in Hindi means street. So please note, I'm not trying to offend anybody. Here you go. So, got my chutney on both my slices. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever put boiled potato in a sandwich, but this is a very common ingredient in rasteka sandwiches. So, I jumped the gun there. First, because like I said, I'm very particular about my layering, I start with my cheese. Now, I just use a mild cheddar cheese because I try and mimic the street cheese as much as possible, and really there's no like Havarti and Swiss and whatever on the streets of Bombay. We're literally looking at a basic good old processed white cheese, cheddar, mild cheddar essentially, and then you have slices of boiled potato. Obviously I boiled these previously, they're not raw, trust me, and that goes on there. I try and do everything evenly because like I said, I need all the ingredients in every single bite. This is very important to me. And then you layer on a bit of onion. Just depends on how much you like. And then, like I said, same amount in every bite. Gotta do it. Now that's gonna be too much in that bite, see? Okay. You got your onions in there. And then I like to put a bit of cucumber on top as well. So if anything, this is a really healthy street snack. It's not like super fried or anything, except for the cheese and then the copious amounts of butter that I like to put in it. So I'm gonna put in a couple more slices there. There we go. And then, like I said, layering is everything. Here, I'm gonna wipe my hands off here. I'm gonna show you what this is before I put in the last bit of my cheese. This is essentially called chaat masala. Chaat masala is a mixture of like dried mango powder, you've got some cumin in there, you've got some coriander in there, you've got all rock salt and all this other yummy stuff. And this is very easily available at any Indian grocery store. But you know, if you don't have access to it, that's totally fine. You can just avoid it. It's a nice little bit of flavor that I like to put in there, and I just kind of generously sprinkle it on my sandwich. And I also like to get in a little bit of black pepper. And then, of course, I'm gonna add in the rest of my cheese. Not all of it. We're gonna save some, and I'll show you why in a second. But I'm gonna just layer it on top. And now layer my cheese on top. There we go. And then you just cover it up with your other buttered and chutneyed slice. Right? I feel like I'm showing you guys how to make a sandwich, and essentially that is what I'm doing. So, you know, for those of you who don't know how to actually put a sandwich together, this is how you put a sandwich together. But what does make it unique, like I said, is the ingredients. So the other things that people commonly put in these sandwiches is, of course, tomatoes. Everybody puts tomatoes in their sandwiches. I'm not a big fan of tomatoes in my sandwiches. But people also put in beetroot slices. You can put in, of course, green peppers. Pretty much anything you like in a sandwich, any veggie that you can think of, you can shove in this sandwich. Now, if you're making it at home, of course, you can put chicken in or whatever. But on the streets of Bombay, on the streets of India, they don't do chicken in the sandwiches that they're making for you essentially in 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure that would have a risk of salmonella. So we've got our sandwich done here with the ingredients that I like, because ultimately I have to eat this at the end of the day. I don't like wasting food, so everything I cook for you, I actually eat. So this is my sandwich. I've got it nice and pressed down. And now I'm gonna take you guys over to my stove where I'm gonna cook it. Now, if you can see what that is, essentially, it's a little contraption called the rock. And it's got these little grids on it that make it look like a grill. And it's actually the perfect little sandwich maker. I've tried other sandwich makers and I don't love them. Now, like I said, back home, they have these things that they clamp shut and do on an open flame. But, you know, I got to make do with what I have. So I have the rock, and I place my sandwich right on it like this, because I want the lines to run parallel. I'm very, very particular about that. Now, not only does it make really great sandwiches, here, let me lift this a little bit so you can see properly. Yeah. Not only does it make really great sandwiches, you put this weight on top of it, and it'll hold your sandwich together. Trust me, it'll stay together. It makes a neat little square sandwich. And an added bonus, every time I use it, I get to say, if you smell what the rock is cooking. I apologize. It was necessary. Every time I use this contraption, I must do this. I'm calm. I'm good now. It's cooking. And I have, of course, by the magic of pre-preparation, a ready-made sandwich for you. So I'm just going to pull it up here. That's what it should look like when it's done. So pretty. Look at the lines. I love it. All right. So I'm going to show you essentially how to finish off this sandwich. Here, let me move all my nasty stuff away. There you have your Rasteca sandwich. Now it's almost done, but usually what they do on the streets, they'll put another little dollop of the chutney on top, because you just can't get enough of that chutney. I know. For those of you who are all about presentation, this is driving you crazy, but trust me, I'm all about the taste, and that is amazing. So then they cut it into 4s because it has to be bite-sized, because ultimately it is a street snack. So again, I know everybody has extremely strong opinions about the way you cut your sandwich. This is a diagonal household. So, I mean, if you have other views, I might need to have you get out of my kitchen. But if not, here you go, cut it diagonally. Okay, I won't throw you out of my kitchen, but you know, I will judge you quite harshly if you cut your sandwiches parallel. So you cut it into 4s. Yes, I got that going. And then, remember how I said we're gonna save some cheese for later? You just sprinkle some cheese on top. Cheese makes me happy. And that, my friends, is your Rasteca sandwich. Now, my mom told me, for the sake of authenticity, I should probably serve it on newspaper like they do on the streets. And I looked it up. I really wanted to do that. I wanted to be authentic. But I looked it up, and I think newspaper ink is not edible. Now, I've eaten a lot of these sandwiches in university, and I survived, so I guess that's okay. And for the most part, I think, arguably, we can say I turned out okay. But I didn't want to take the liability. I don't want to tell you to eat newspaper ink, so I'm just going to do it on my pretty plate. And that's really all there is to it. That is your Rasteca sandwich. Try it out. Try the chutney. It really makes a huge difference. Honestly, back home, we just put some chutney on bread and call it a sandwich. So this is kind of your amped up Rasteca sandwich. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. And that's really all I have for you today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to try. Look at all the cheese. Look at all the chutney. You want to try this. I can't wait to see your pictures and your trials of this amazing recipe. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope I haven't missed anything. I feel like this went really quick. I think that's it. Okay, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks. Bye. I might eat this now.